be with us tonight as we go forth. We ask you, the council, the chief, second chief, we make decisions as we go forth. Lord, we just thank you for the blessings you bestowed upon us, Lord. And we just ask that you continue to be with us and grant us favor as we go through the night and even as we go home this evening. But Lord, we just place it all in your hands tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Roll call.
Robert Hood. William Love.
Here.
Patrick Freeman.
Here.
Adam
Here.
Jones. Travis Scott.
Here.
Charles McHenry.
Here.
Joseph Hicks.
Here.
Gerald Proctor.
Here.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Thompson Hall Osborne. Present. Chairman, you have 1 absent and 9 present.
9 present. Establishes the quorum. All business conducted will be official. Next, we have the approval of minutes. Look those over for me, please, and entertain a motion when you're ready.
Everyone make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting.
Motion to approve minutes by Representative Scott for 12/12/19 with any necessary changes. Second by Representative Osborne. Roll call vote, please.
William Love.
Abstain.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Travis Scott.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Gerald Proctor. Joseph Hicks. Thompson Hall. Yes. You have 7 in favor and 1 abstention and 0 against.
Approval of minutes established. On to our order of business. NCA 20-004, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing an appropriation to install artificial turf on the Todd Cox Omniplex softball fields. Sponsors Thomas C. and Yehola Osborne. Motion for due pass by Representative Osborne. Second. Second by Representative Scott. Discussion.
Thank you. This time, Bill has introduced David Fisher. He's our representative from Health Construction, and he's our preferred vendor for this project. And I'd like to give him a few minutes to talk about the construction of the turf, and then we'll go into explanation about our usage and benefits of this project.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here and represent Hellas Construction. David Fisher, Business Development Manager for Hellas. I cover the territory of Oklahoma. We are the largest construction company in North America. We do a lot of sports construction all across the country, have offices from coast to coast, and have almost 20 full baseball, softball fields across Oklahoma already. It's a very growing area. Football, soccer has been around for decades. Baseball, softball's really just taken off in the last probably 8 or 10 years. So we've done fields all the way from minor league to junior highs all across the country. So honored to be here, and I think some of you have a rendering that we put together showing the Google Earth of your actual complex and the 4 softball infields that are on there. we're excited to start that project. I know you have 2 huge tournaments, and we've tried to put together a plan. We think we could be in there the Monday right after your tournament on March 30th, and that would still give us time to have your fields ready for your big tournament on June, I think it starts June 5th, and we would shoot to be done on June the 1st and make sure you're able to have a ribbon cutting ceremony at your big tournament as everybody comes in on your new field. So again, just very excited. We build these fields, like I say, all across the country. We do turf tracks and tennis courts all across the United States. So we're very excited to have an opportunity to possibly do this project for you guys. And so I would love to entertain any questions you may have. I know a lot of times there's a lot of questions about synthetic turf. Anything I can answer for you guys at this time? Okay, would you like to see the sample of the fields themselves, actually? We've got a little sample box here of what an installed field actually looks like. Gives you, if you're like me, I'm a visual learner. So it kind of shows you what the actual installed synthetic turf actually looks like. And what we do is, a lot of people in this industry are putting the same football turf in their baseball and softball fields. We don't do that. We have a specially designed line called Major Play, and it is just for the bounce and roll on the baseball and the softball. Like I say, we have this at the University of Central Oklahoma, Division II university. They love it. We have it up the road from you guys at Broken Arrow High School, both for baseball and softball. They love it. And so it's especially designed just for sliding in the second base or batter's boxes. We put a little higher wear 80-ounce turf in the high wear area so it lasts longer. Replaceable panels that you can do in-house when it does come time to replace them. So it is a really nice surface, and it's going to basically virtually eliminate any kind of rainouts. You wouldn't have any lost time. Literally, you can play, if it's not lightning, you can get on the field and play because the footing and the traction, the drainage is so unbelievable. The ball won't even get wet 5 minutes after you've had rain because it rains so quickly. Anything else you guys are curious about?
Do we have any questions or concerns from the committee?
Thank you, Chair. I know we're in the preliminary stage, but has there been any soil testing or anything of that nature done to be compatible?
We actually have a geotest that we're going to do, recommended by Mr. Fisher. So we are going to, that's the next step in the process. They will do 2 plugs per field, I believe, and they will test to see exactly what procedures need to happen.
And that is, I'm glad you brought that up because that is a huge deal. We're a company that won't build a field without a geotech. There are some companies out there that will, but we want to build you a field that's going to last 40, 50 years as far as the base. And without a geotech, you cannot compact the soil to proper density and planarity. So I have given them a boring map of the minimum amount of borings that we would feel comfortable doing, as well as a checklist that they can share with your vendor that will do your testing. And our company, because they want to do this project so much for you guys, you typically need a geotech and a survey, a topographical survey. We're going to do the survey for you free of charge with our in-house survey crew. That'll probably save you about $5,000. And so I've already got the okay from our company to do the survey in-house with our survey crew, and then that way you guys won't have to pay for that. You take care of the geo, we'll take care of the survey. Nice little partnership. Yes, that's very important. And the only thing you'll notice in our proposal, there'll be some red letters where it'll say there is no contingency in here for poor soil because we don't know the soil condition yet, and we'll be able to tighten those numbers up to the penny the minute we get a look at that geo. The survey won't change anything because you already have fields that are pretty well graded, but you never know what the geos are going to tell you. We put a ballpark amount in there for soil compaction, and in Oklahoma is usually darn close, but we do need to get that geo to have it to the penny.
Representative McHenry?
Life expectancy of this field, this type of field, pros, the cons of it, please?
Yep, that's a great question. Our fields lead the industry an average of 10.8 years on average. And I had some people looking at a field the other day that was 12 years old that was still being in use. So with a little maintenance and care, we provide in that proposal is a groomer that you, instead of dragging the dirt like you used to, now you use the groomer on the synthetic turf, and with some basic maintenance and decent common sense and care, easily, we build all of our fields that you're gonna get a minimum of 10 years. The industry standard is probably closer to 8. We feel like if we don't give you a field that makes it 10 years, we've let you down. We want to be your customer 10 years from now too, when it possibly comes time for replacement. So easily 10 years is what we shoot for. Warranty for 8. That's the other good thing about synthetic turf. 80% of the anticipated lifespan, you're under warranty. And I always tell people, there's not a car or a house or jewelry that gives you 80% of its lifespan of warranty. So you're covered under a warranty for 8 years.
So you're talking about a geotechnical engineer coming in and doing an investigation on this. So to have this investigation done, what kind of cost is that? And then also, say it turns out to be a bad deal. What are we looking at as far as pricing?
There's just kind of a geo checklist. You've got plenty of money budgeted. Kyle had told me what you guys had set aside for your, because he's thinking geo and survey. We're gonna take care of the survey for you. So you've got plenty of money set aside to do your geotech. They usually run $5,000 or $6,000 depending on how many borings you pull out. And with Oklahoma soil, we build fields all across this state and all across the country. We pretty much know what your soil's gonna say, but we still with the chance of without seeing the geotechnical report. But typically, we compact soil at 95% or higher. We'll continue to work on an area until we get it to that. You guys are in construction, know that's kind of the industry standard. We'll put a stone base in there along with the geotextile fiber. We'll separate the soil from the rock to make sure the soil never shifts and never gets wet again. And we also do our compaction the most economical way. We like to use like lime stabilization, fly ash, and moisture. And we try to stay away from select fill. Select fills where they may come in and say, we need to take 3 foot of that out and put 3 foot back in. That's a very expensive process. We never do soil stabilization that way if at all possible. And that recommendation sheet I gave you says on there, we would like to do this with the current soil left on site using moisture stabilization, using like fly ash, lime, and that kind of stabilization. So typically we're able to do it pretty economically.
So that won't cost them.
No, knock on wood, typically when we get the geo back, it just confirms what we think we've already put in there for that, and very seldom does it change it much unless somehow we come back and you just have some horrible soil. But you've been on those fields for a long time, you've drug them, you've watered them, you've taken care of them. Usually when you're doing what's called a drop-in on an existing area, there's a lot less chance of things going sideways than when it's a new construction and we're building fields out in the middle of a soybean field somewhere that a farmer was plowing a year or a week ago. So it helps when it's an existing facility.
So, if, let's say you have to over excavate all 4 fields, and I see you got a grade beam in there, 6 inches by 12 inches, it goes around the perimeter of the, so you're really,
The curving.
the curving,
Correct.
so you're really over excavating maybe 1.5 feet basically, so have you ballpark what that would be for all 4 fields, and then I don't see a grading plan for the rest of the field, because the whole field is problematic, and it's gonna drain back.
Yeah, we wouldn't do the grading plan until after you give us the okay. Then we'll put together both a grading plan and a seaming plan of how we'll put the turf together. That'll come to you in a submittal that you will approve off on along with the rendering that this is exactly how you want us to manufacture the field. But they will work the grading plan after they get the survey and the geo. That will tell them exactly how to do the grading, and we'll build the plan to that geo and that survey.
And you couldn't ballpark the over excavate 16 inches, and say the infield is, the soil's no good, you have to over excavate.
Typically, we only take out about 12 inches. That's the way we like to do it based on the geo, and that's why we give them the geo checklist and the recommendation, because we're trying not to over excavate because of the cost to you. So we're trying to do the minimum we can, and most of the time, we come back with a 6-inch stone base. We'll use a large aggregate, about a 57 on the first 4 inches, and then a smaller aggregate fines, about 89 at the top, and we'll compact that and laser grade it, and it has to be permeable for that water to go through. And with that 6 inches of stone base on top of that 95% compacted soil, we can typically only take out about 12 inches.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Thank you, Chairman. I know before, I don't know how deep are you gonna bore?
The borings are 15 foot, that's kind of the industry standard, and we've marked on that chart a 15-foot core, it's just a small core, and they'll take them 15 foot.
Okay, because I know at one point that they did take out some of the dirt and they brought more dirt back in,
Did some select fill.
so.
Yeah, that's why we like to go 15 foot. We're gonna get an analysis of every square inch of what's out there for 15 foot. And we'll do 2 per field. We can get away. Some boring companies may come in here and want you to do 5 or 6 borings a field. Well, no bigger these infields are. We're plenty comfortable with 2 borings per field, so we can get away with just 8 borings and save a little money.
And then the other question I have is polarization, like during winter times. Winter times, snow, ice, how's that going to affect the turf, or is there something that?
It doesn't affect it at all. It's so tough. People basically, like we've got football fields, and when it snowed 2 foot in Canadian, Texas, I've got a football field right across the state line in Canadian. They had a playoff game week 11 at home, and they called us and said, we've got 2 foot of snow on our field, we've got to play a playoff game tonight at 7:30, what do we do? And they just you take a piece of PVC pipe, and you put it across the blade of the snow plow, and you set the height to be just above the turf so the blade won't dig in. They push that snow right off there and won the playoff game that night. I mean, it doesn't affect it at all. You just have to be careful when you take the snow off and trying to play.
Last question I have is there a contract, has there been a contract?
No. We're just, like I say, in preliminary stages with the proposal and renderings for you guys, and once you approve that, we could move forward with that. We'll actually do a contract for you in-house. We have a contract department, and then we can send that to you for your revisions and approval, and then we can take it back and forth to your house. You don't know, nothing's been done like that, no, sir.
And this is just for the infield, is that correct?
That's correct. And that saves money because people don't realize the outfields are huge, whether even a softball field or a baseball field can be over 100,000 square foot just in the outfield. So this is a good way to still get synthetic turf without breaking the bank, kiddingly. And most of your work in softball comes on the infield. You can play with the outfield a little bit wet, but you can't play in mud. So by having the turf infield, you eliminate rainouts because all your work takes place in the dirt areas, and now it's all synthetic turf. Just the infields, they're about 12,000 square foot, just a little under each of your infields, about 11.8 on average, probably in square footage.
One more question. Kyle, is there any other companies that you look at with this sort of?
Yes, sir, we met with, I believe, right? And the difference in quality was night and day. And one reason why we prefer to work with Hellas is because they don't subcontract out any of the process. They do everything themselves from A to Z. And so we know that they're the experts. They've been doing this, for a long time, and they're the best in their field. And so we'd like to work with them to make sure we have the best possible facility to use for our use and everything like that.
I'd like to add also that I actually went to Brian McGirt, and we looked at 2 other fields that were done by, I don't know if you consider them competitors or not, but the visual was absolutely terrible, without even looking underneath. Grass growing through the field, through the turf, seams that were, it would look like I literally took pieces of it and just butted it up together and left it out there. So no transition from the infield to the outfield. And, those were fields that were quoted at $30,000 to $90,000 per infield. And, that's the difference in quality and price. So certainly there is a low bid option, but, we would be regressing, I feel like, if we went that route.
We received samples from the other vendors, and what you saw here, they have night and day. It looked, awful compared to this
And just
quality.
piggybacking on that question, I kid people, we do the turf for the Dallas Cowboys, and 7 NFL football teams. I always tell people, if you can keep Jerry Jones happy, we can keep anybody happy. Because Jerry's a tough customer.
You mentioned a big tournament in June, so we haven't announced it yet, but we've been selected to host Native All-State this year. And so we'll host all the events we can, so that's June 5th weekend, and we're really excited about that. So if we get this done on time, we can have that ready for that tournament as well as festival in June.
Representative Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't totally agree with this sole sourcing. I'll go back to the splash pad. On their recommendation, we sole sourced the splash pad. And we still haven't been paid for that, or work hasn't been done correctly for that, so.
Like I say,
There's options that we could also explore. I mean, and as far as getting apples to apples quotes, it's gonna be difficult because they're the only ones that we found to manufacture from A to Z and manufacture, install. So if we do the outsource, or do the bidding process, we would be looking at companies that do multiple outsourcing in different areas of the process. And that's certainly something that we could do.
Well, and the other comment is, you know, they recommend that you use the geotech. You use the company that they recommend. You know, there's others out there.
No, you're picking your own geotech company, we have nothing to do with that. That's the
And that's what I said,
protection.
but you recommend them.
We recommend you do a geotech, who you choose to do that's up to you.
We don't select one,
Yeah, we don't have anything to do with who you select. We wouldn't build you a field no different, they wouldn't have built this building without a geotech for the subbase. We just won't build a field without one. You choose your own geotechnical company to protect yourself. Yeah, it's just a recommendation from us. We'll survey it ourselves, that's just a simple survey for grading.
Well, I just feel like it should go through the rebid process myself, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
And kind of piggybacking what he said, what Kyle said, the difference with Hellas and everybody else is we are 95% self-performance. We don't want to sub out the site work to someone who doesn't grade, laser grade sports fields for a living. We don't want to sub out the concrete curbing to someone who doesn't pour sports curbing for a living. We don't want to sub out the manufacturing of the turf, and we don't want to sub out the installation of the warranty coverage. So the thing that differentiates us from the entire industry is we do everything. We're the only company in North America who manufactures their own turf, does their own site work, does their own subgrade, does their own concrete, drainage, and installation, and then follows up with the warranty and customer service, all done under one roof. And that's what separates us from the rest of the industry. And unfortunately, this is an industry that can be like a used car industry. You can end up with some really ugly stuff, and some of the stuff they wouldn't solve if you're not careful, and that's the one thing we pride ourselves in, is customer service.
Thank you.
One question, Colin, when we talked earlier about this, so is this for 4 fields or 2 fields? Because before we'd only talked about 1, and then had 2 fields, and then the proposal today is 4 fields, is that right?
Yes, sir. When we discussed it in November, I believe, we talked to the committee at that time, and we said we could either bring 1, 2, or all 4, and we recommended bring all 4, which we did because if we were to use the fields one at a time, it would cost about $70,000 extra bringing out the equipment. And so,
mobilization.
If we're going to do it all, it's more cost effective to do everything at once. And we think with this being done, the usage is going to increase quite a bit at softball fields, and so we'll need it pretty quickly, we believe. And so we think it makes the most sense to have to come back and ask for more money time and time again to do it all at once and save that extra $70,000.
So what if you did 2, and then come back and do another 2? If we was to do it like that?
That's what he's talking about. So for instance, the more turf we can manufacture for the single job at the same time, the cheaper it gets per square foot. So to be able to manufacture almost 50,000 square foot instead of 24,000 square foot drops your per foot price quite a bit. The other thing is, this is a lot of heavy machinery. We own 750 pieces of heavy machinery, but we have to mobilize it to Okmulgee, Oklahoma. The expense to mobilize 2 different times and manufacture 2 smaller amounts of turf is far outweighed by the price that you do when you do them all at once. So you're saving yourself. It'll never be cheaper than it is right now when you do all 4 of them at the same time due to the amount of turf manufactured per square foot and the mobilization cost.
The quote for 2 is $327 compared to $587, and so
Huge savings.
so it's it's definitely bigger amount share.
Okay.
And then as you can see as well, we put together an annual revenue projection as far as potential expected tournaments and events throughout the year, and that's just the ballpark. And also part of that included our cost savings for having not buy chalk, not buy dirt and everything, about $15,000 in yearly expenses that we won't have if we do turf. Plus we're looking at around $80,000 revenue potential from high school tournaments, which we have our first one coming up in March, and then leagues tournaments, and then hosting our own tournaments where there's a large amount of revenue provided there. Philip and I met with Mark Ryle, who former Major League Baseball player, helps put on tournaments, and he said he was organizing one in Broken Arrow. Their complex is a little bit bigger. He said that one weekend they made $98,000 from a tournament just for one weekend. So even if we get a small piece of that, I mean the $600,000 is made up decently quickly. And it's good for the economy here in Milwaukee, it's good for tourism here, it's good for the community. Our kids can play on these fields, they're safer. There's so many good reasons to do this. I know it's a big number to look at up front, but we believe the value is there for it. And we'd love to, we've had really good success in what we've done with the basketball gym. We've got instant, use of them with the county tournament and playoffs, and we're doing the county tournament now. We came over here to meet this, and we're going to right back over there and do that event. And we feel like that we have a proven track record with, using the money wisely that we've been given. And we'd love the chance to do that again with the softball fields as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that brings up my question. So is it going, those fields going to be open to the public, or are they going to be like the dome, you're going to restrict uses of it?
Fields will be open to the public, just like they are now. Youth can practice for free as long as they're reserved the field. Anyone can lease the fields out anytime they want to, so there's no difference in how they're being used now compared to how they'll be used in the future.
The other thing is, how much money was spent on the infields last fall
So we got about $2,000 in dirt last year for one field.
for the dirt?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Take one more question from Representative Osborne. That was your question. Everybody good? Roll call vote, please.
William Love,
No.
Patrick Freeman,
No.
Adam Jones,
Yes.
Travis Scott,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
No.
Darryl Proctor,
No.
Joseph Hicks,
No.
Thomasina Hill Osborne. Yes. Chairman, you have 3 in favor and 5 against.
3 in favor, 5 against, that motion fails. On to other business. Have any other business? Announcements? Have any announcements? I've got to adjourn. I ask the benediction from Representative Osborne.
Father, thank you for this day and opportunity to be here. And Father, I just pray that each of us go to you before we